Staying in touch is just a few clicks away. Get the latest news from a Catholic perspective and so much more. Become a RealCatholicTV.com premium member today.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium. CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Nigerian Genocide. Boko Haram has declared war on Christianity, sounding the death knell for many Nigerians in the coming weeks as the militant jihadist group attempts to eradicate Christianity. You may remember Boko Haram, the group whose name means Western education is a sin, is responsible for over 1,000 deaths in their genocidal attacks that target Christian churches using suicide bombers and other tactics. Though the government has deployed military units across the country to try and stem the violence, a spokesman for the Boko Haram says, quote, "We will create so much effort to end the Christian presence in our push to have a proper Islamic state that the Christians won't be able to stay," end quote. It is estimated that Boko Haram has claimed more than 1,000 lives since 2009, over 300 in the past year alone. SNAP director deposed. The Society Network of Those Abused by Priests, or SNAP, is facing questions after its director allegedly violated a gag order by publicizing restricted information in a press release. SNAP director David Clohessy was called into court in an effort to determine if a gag order on a Missouri priest's abuse case had been violated, and some startling admissions were made on his part during the procedure. He refused to answer questions about how he was able to consistently post information about the lawsuit on the group's website before the court even had it filed. But when asked if SNAP had ever publicized false information in a press release, he answered, "Sure," without offering an explanation. SNAP, part of whose mission is to, quote, publicize lawsuits against priests, is criticized by many as simply an attack force with its crosshairs on the Catholic Church. You can get more information on our resource page. Just click on the link right outside the screen. Dissenting priest fired. Boston College has decided to terminate the contract of a priest who openly challenged church teaching. American priest Father John Shea, an adjunct professor in the BC School of Theology and Ministry, had often questioned why the church won't ordain women. Father Shea even went so far as to write directly to Cardinal Sean O'Malley last year, informing him that until women are allowed to be ordained, he would leave active ministry. In 1994, Pope John Paul II explained the Church's teaching in his apostolic letter, Ordinatio Sacerdotalis, reaffirming the importance of reserving priestly ordination for men. Father Shea will vacate his position at the end of this semester. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
These bagpipes are the sound of protest at Madonna University this week as members of the group Tradition, Family, and Property, or TFP, protested the presence of pro-homosexual speaker Father Michael Crosby, chosen to lead a retreat for Felician sisters housed in Livonia, Michigan. Protesters gathered in response to a situation all too commonplace today, the allowance of religious speakers who dissent from Catholic teachings on homosexuality, contraception, and abortion to speak at Catholic college campuses and churches. Lynn Mills, a member of the local pro-life Detroit group, says some of the Felician nuns are contributing to the problem.
Nuns have done so much good, but lately they are doing so much wrong, and I don't mean all of them. There's a certain segment within here that invite dissidents, like the priest that's here today doing the retreat.
Father Michael Crosby is known for criticizing church teaching on homosexuality and was hosted by New Ways Ministry, a group that describes themselves on their website as, quote, a gay positive ministry of advocacy and justice for lesbian and gay Catholics. Gay games. So much for the interest of the consumer majority. Makers of the Star Wars video game, The Old Republic, are jumping to include homosexual material in the game's post-launch in response to complaints from homosexual activists. BioWare, the company that created the video game, refused the first requests to include gay characters, saying their policy was to remain politically neutral. But now, as executive director David Caton of the Florida Family Association says, quote, "We have 35 LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender extremists that are trumping 1.7 million other people in what the content should be for the upcoming additions and upgrades," end quote. Caton is referring to the 1.7 million copies of the game that have already been sold without homosexual characters in them. Protesting the mandate in D.C. If you're in Washington this Saturday, you might want to head over to the Department of Health and Human Services building to make your voice heard in protest of the recent Obamacare mandate. Organizers say it will be peaceful, but at the same time, they'll be making it clear that they aren't going to let the White House or dissenting Catholic, Kathleen Sebelius, ram their contraceptive mandate down the throats of all Americans by denying our constitutional right to religious freedom. An organization called Catholics for Religious Freedom is sponsoring the March 10th protest. For more information on where everyone will be gathering for the demonstration, check out our RealCatholicTV.com Facebook fan page for all the details. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in on Monday for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. Also be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael talks about Obama's drums. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.